Hi flower friends, my name is Jolene Powell and I'm from Grottoes, Virginia. Today I'm going to share with you how to make a cemetery silk cone arrangement. First I'm going to show you what kind of supplies we're going to need to do this project. We're going to need a styrofoam insert. Several of the local graveyards here take this exact size for the flower inserts. We do get others that are a smaller diameter, and we ask that the customers actually bring the inserts to us so that we can put the foam in and actually arrange the flowers within the insert, because there's several different sizes. But as a standard, this is the size that we use and sell out in the flower shop. What I'm going to make today is for a custom order that a customer has asked for certain colors. So in addition to that, you're going to need something to hold the insert in while you arrange so it stays in place, and this is a good sturdy heavy vase. I'm going to need a pick machine, a good set of wire snips, cutters, and then needle nose pliers, and you'll see why we need those. You also need a good amount of picks for in your machine. I thought I would wait and show you this. This is a weight that goes onto the machine. Let me lift this up a little bit so you can see the actual machine. And then picks come in steel. They're called steel picks. They come in a couple different sizes. I always get the 1 3/4, and the packets come in bound by a piece of plastic. So you just make sure that you put them in the right way. I always put them in before I take that little sleeve of plastic off, or you have picks everywhere. And then I take my little needle nose pliers, and after it's down below the top of the insert area, I just squeeze that piece of plastic and turn to break it, and then just pull it out of there and throw it in the trash. So usually I can get 2 packs of picks to put in here. You can get you can find pick machines online or local craft stores, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, places like that. You can even find used ones. Alright, and then you just set this little weight back on it, and that little weight helps to push the picks down so it's the next one is ready for you. I also like to use silk baker, more so than the plastic. I just think that silk gives a nice softer feel for the arrangements. Each silk packet comes with 12 leaves. So I will always use at least 1, sometimes 1.5 to 2. We'll see how it goes. And then you just need to have a good assortment of silk flowers. So we have a line flower here. This is kind of a blue with a touch of purple on the end, gladiolus. The main or focal flower will be these lavender roses. We're going to also have a filler flower of lavender, little baby's breath. The customer also wanted blue and teal, so we have some blue spray roses, and I try to get the colors that complement each other in this grouping. And then they specifically wanted teal, so I found some teal closed roses, and then some teal little mini spray roses. So I think this is going to make a nice color combination. I really like where this is going. We start out with our baker. Oh, I also have a secondary greenery. I like adding extra textures and colors with greenery. You can never go wrong, whether it's silk or fresh. I have a trash can over here to my right. Everything, I'm right-handed, so I go off to the right. I like to do things in groupings to save time. So I always start with 3 for the center area. So I'm going to try to do this so that you all can see. I like to keep the full length of these. With my needle nose pliers, I'm going to just bend the ends just a little bit before I put it in the pick machine. And the reason I do this is if you try to pick this stem without curling the ends, let's see if you can see that, it's just going to slide off. You're not going to have anything for the pick machine to grip to. So I'm just going to do all 3 of those. find my placement in the center. Oops. Straighten that up. Be very careful. These things are very sharp. I have a band-aid on my finger where I sliced my finger. What had happened, I was inserting a stem earlier in a standing spray I was doing, and my finger slid down. It actually cut me on the top part of this. So if you want to tape your fingers off or wear some protective gloves, that's fine too. I just feel like it's too bulky to have gloves for me, and I've been doing it so long. Every now and then I slip up and cut myself, but it's okay. So I'm aiming for the center of the styrofoam cone, and I put my first one in, and so as I insert these in, I want them just barely at different heights, and I'm kind of doing it in a triangle, but they're all together. They're absolutely side by side. One's a little taller than the other, and then the next one's even a little bit taller. So I might not go all the way in with the third one. So I don't know if you can see the stair step there, but anyway. So once we get to this point, it kind of looks like a mishmash. So I go through and pull the leaves so they cross each other. Okay. That way they're not fighting for the same space. They're actually crossing over, and so I have leaves coming out in all directions. So it just gives it a nice, good center form. So that's my center. Then with the rest of the leaves, I don't like to do 4. I like to do 5. It gives it a better cohesive rotation. So I will take 5 of these Baker fern and put them all together. I like to save time and cut all at once. And with these, this is going to be my lower deck. So you got upper deck, middle deck, lower deck. So I like to put the lower deck a little bit closer. So I'm actually going to cut these very close to the bottom end of the stem. I'm going to leave enough room so that I can curl back a little bit to put on the pick machine. So we'll cut all those at one time. And then we're going to curl the ends just like we did with the other. Kind of do a assembly line. I just feel like this saves time instead of bend one, pick, insert, snip, pick, insert. That just wastes time in my mind. So then I go back through and I pick them all at one time in a row, and then I'm going to insert them all at one time. In the floral industry, time is of the essence, so the more that you can save time doing something, the better. So when I do these, you can see that there is a lip there on the styrofoam. That lip is usually what's going to come down onto the vase insert. They're usually either metal or marble or things like that. So I just imagine that that is going to rest on the lip of the vase. So I don't insert any flowers any lower than that. I keep my flower inserts here. Also, I try to insert down at an angle and then bend the stem back, because if I go and put every flower in straight like that, well, once I start getting flowers up top, it's going to hit those inserts. So the more I keep all of them going down, the better. So I just find an area, go in at an angle, and then bend the leaves down just a little bit. Okay, you don't have to do it a whole lot. And again, we're not doing directly across from each other. We're doing 5, so just a little bit less than a quarter of the way. Angle down, rotate. You can even bend, manipulate the leaves a little bit so they're not as rigid and stiff, and get some flow going there, because your leaves don't, stand up straight, or they're not all perfectly straight in nature. So give them a little bit of a turn. Okay, then with the next middle deck, you're going to do the same exact thing. I like to, there's only 12 in a pack, so this is where you have to dig into your second pack here. So you get enough out of the next pack to go ahead and have 5 more. I just make sure they're all turned the same way. And then this, I want to come out a little bit. So I'm gonna cut a little bit lower just so that the stems stick out a little more. This is gonna be a nice full arrangement. Some of them I do are a little bit smaller in area, and you can adjust to whatever size that you like. But this customer really wanted it nice and full, so. And you figure for that when you're figuring up the cost of your flowers. If you want it bigger and more flowers, then the price is going to be more. Now, just because I picked all of these bushes does not mean that I have to use all of the flowers from every single bush. I don't think it's going to be that full. I kind of look at it as I go. I know what I have laying on the table cost-wise, but then I go back through, and if I only used a half a bush of this or a half a bush of that, then I adjust the price accordingly. All right, so you had the lower deck and you have the upper deck. Now we want to go in the center. So we're gonna go about halfway in between these two leaves. We're gonna put the middle deck, and we're gonna angle it at a 45-degree angle. Okay, just go kind of straight in if you can, and then angle the stem back. Remember to do that. Go it back. Oops. Got carried away there. All right, so we got 5 on the center deck. So that's giving us a nice, good tree or triangle shape. Then we can go back and I take 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, with this set, I try to cut it in half. So right about here, you're going to have a top section and a bottom section with these 2 sets of leaves and then these 3. So we're going to cut those in half, and we're going to cut all the way at the bottom of this stem where the next one starts. Okay, just so you can see. Let me take them apart. So you had one piece, and that's where I separated it. Okay, now with this bottom half, we're going to go ahead and take some length off of there. We don't need all of this, so we'll just cut some of that off. And again, assembly line, just curling all the bottoms. So while I'm doing this, just a little bit about me. I was born and raised here in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Love it. It's a great place to live. We get to enjoy all 4 seasons of the year: snow, rain, sleet, sun. You know, in the summer we might get to 100, 105. We really don't get much more hot than that, and it's only a couple days. It's not forever. And then in the winter, some winters are worse than others. We've had a mild winter so far. We haven't even really had any snow to talk of to have to close everything down for several days, but it's nice to get a snowstorm every now and then, just to go out and make snow angel or something. The kids love it. It has not been cold enough or enough snow to be able to go sleigh riding anywhere. So I'm picking these, doing everything assembly line. So in the comments, you all tell me, where are you from? Where do you live? What state are you in? Or maybe you're watching from another country. I'd love to hear from you. Also, do you do silk cemetery cone arrangements? Or is this new to you? If you have any questions, I'd love to answer your questions and help you out. Okay, so I'm done picking all of that. Now with this bottom section, just a little tip, I just don't like how they kind of, they're straight out. So I will take the one side and roll it over and put it under the next side and just kind of give it a little bend. So it just gives a little bit more shape to it. And then between the middle deck and the lower deck, I go around and insert to give more filler in there with the bottom halves. I'll show you about the top halves here in a minute. So again, twist, rotate, and insert. You go all the way around. Just kind of trying to hide the styrofoam so you can't see it. Some people like to put the flowers in first and then green later. I've done both. To me, I like the greening up first. I feel like it helps me to get my shape. Okay, and then next, the half pieces from the top, I just go from the top deck and middle deck and kind of stuff in between. But these, I don't stick in like so. I kind of angle them to kind of cover more sideways views. So it just fills in nicely when you go sideways. And you can do some forward, some backwards. It really doesn't matter, but just spread them out in between. Actually, that's probably enough. We can, sometimes I will go, and if you look at it and you see greenery on the edge, I have been known to pick it down inside and then fold it down a little bit just to hide some of that area. Actually, you know what? That's what I'm gonna take these middle ones out and do that all the way around, because I have more baker over here. Just get a nice, because this is going to be a nice full arrangement when I get done. So I want to make sure I get them all. Yeah. So I have a couple pieces left. I'm going to hold off on these and fill those in later after I get the arrangement done. The next thing I like to do is I like to choose my line flower that's going to give me my height. So I found this beautiful two-tone blue and purple gladiola. I'm just going to go ahead and cut them all off at the bottom. I will shorten some of them, but I just like to go ahead and get it all done at once. Now, these silks come with leaves on them. You can bend those. Look, doesn't that give it a little bit of life? Yeah, we like that. So, the first one is going to be your height. And actually, usually I never cut off any of the bottom for the first one. So, I'm going to go ahead, and it is such a thick stem that I don't need to take the flowers and bend it over. I can just put the pick on the bottom, but I do give it an extra tight squeeze to make sure that it's on there good. And then I'm just going to come in and try to put it as very close to the center as possible. So my flower is going to be taller than the greenery. I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay. Now, I count how many do I have left. I have 4 stems left, but I don't like them just poking out everywhere. I like to have a little bit of balance. So, I'm going to do 3 a little bit shorter. I'm going to cut 1 in half, but of the 3 that I cut shorter, I'm taking off 2 of the blooms. So you go just above the second from the bottom bloom. Snip that off, okay? So now you have 2 inserts here. So we're going to do that 3 times. And I just separate them into little piles. So do that 3 times. Now, with the last bloom, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 main blooms. So I'm probably going to just cut off the bottom 3 and leave the top 4 main blooms, just kind of in half. Now, if you don't like these spiky things, you can just take them off, save them for something else if you think it will distract or take away from your arrangement. But I leave them on the longer pieces, but not the shorter pieces. So I'll take them off all the shorter pieces. All right. So with the 3 that are the same size, again, we don't have to roll up the bottom because the stems are thick enough. Just make sure that you put the pick on there good and tight. All right. I like odd numbers. I feel like the balance is better. Oops. Sorry about that. I like odd numbers. The balance is a little bit better. Visually, it's more pleasing. So I'm just going to go around and put the 3 tallest around in thirds. Okay. Now this taller, the one that I have a couple more extra blooms on, I might come up in the center in between something somewhere and just add a little bit. Now these, even though there are only 2 blooms on them, they have tall stems on them, so that's going to give us some more height up into the arrangement. Get those picked. Last one. Okay. Oh, there's another one. Oh, actually, I'm going to pull him down. Put him in there. Great thing about silks is you can take them out and put them back in the way you want them. Alright, so this is what we got going on so far. Wish my table was a little longer. The next flower we're going to pick is the focal flower, which is a lavender rose. Really like these. It's really pretty. A good full open rose. And I may not use this whole bush. In fact, I think I'm going to just start out with 7. Good odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll start out with 7 and see how that goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So it leaves 5 for possibly another arrangement. Again, I like odd numbers, so if I'm going to take 7 and leave 5, or use 5 and leave 7, whatever. I may come back and use some of those. Now, I try to lay these out and see which one is the absolute tallest. Yep. And then that's the one that's going to be the tallest in the arrangement. Skinny stem, so I definitely need to curl it before I pick it. And then angle the head just a little bit to face you so that when you put it in the arrangement, it's facing you. Like so. And then you just work your way around, making sure they're kind of even and balanced wherever you have them in the arrangement. Kind of do up zigzag as I go around the arrangement so that they're not all on the same plane. It's like a nice mixed bouquet. So the next one, I'll try to go kind of in between heights. Oops, that's a little too tall. Let's cut that down just a little more. I'll show you what I mean here in just a second after I get this one in. Well, try that again. So you have one that's a little taller, one that's down a little further, and down a little further. They're not all on the same plane. You got different heights. And in fact, I think I'm going to take this one up a little bit taller. And I'm going to show you a little trick. Because this was actually the tallest it could come off the stem, I'm going to cut that off because I'm going to show you what I do. I keep a jar of stems. If I were to cut this flower, say here, okay, and I have all this stem left, well, I don't throw those away. I keep them in a little jar here, and I call this my extenders jar. So I just get an extender. You know, maybe I just need a short one, okay? Where's my tape? There we go. So get you some floral tape, and let's say I want to add 2 inches to that. So remember, I cut a little bit off when I cut that pick off. So I'm just gonna tape this extender on here so that I can give it some height. Customers will never know. A little secret. So then I have just added a little bit of height, and I can get this up higher into the arrangement. Oh, another thing you could do if you wanted to get in height 1 inch, I wouldn't recommend doing this more than once, but actually pick over the end that you just did, add another pick. I wouldn't do it more than once, but if you just need a little bit of height and you don't want to tape another thing on there, that's fine. Alright, as we go down, I like to push the greenery up a little bit around the flower to help fill in. So we're going up and down, and we might go down, a little down further. I only have 2 more of these put in, so just kind of think about where you want them before you put them in. Oh no, we have 3 more. Let's see. This side about halfway. And then I'm going to make a really low one down here. Now, I wouldn't save, if they're 4 or more inches, I'll save them, but if they're too small, it's almost not worth it. So there's a hole right here, so I think I'm gonna put that right there. There's no right answer, no wrong answer. You just want to find a visually pleasing balance. Just if you do something on one side, do it on the other. Okay, so now we have those around, and that may not look good right now, but as you put more flowers in, I promise you it'll start to come together. Don't be afraid to go ahead and put some in. Now the next, I like to go in order. So line flowers, then focal flowers for silks. Now other arrangements, sometimes I'll start with the focal flower and work around that. But today, line flowers, focal flowers, and then your next medium flower is what I like to call it, or accent or secondary flower. I'm going to go with our turquoise closed rosebuds. And I don't know that I'm going to use this entire bush either. I'm going to divide this up. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there's 10, so let's do 7 to leave 3. We do some little tiny arrangements to set out here on the floor, or let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do 7. So it's okay if I end up with 3. 1, 2. Oh, there's no heads on some of these stems, so maybe I counted wrong. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there is 10. So I need to cut 2 more stems to get 7. So we'll put these off to the side. We may or may not come back and put those in. See what happens. Now, these ones that don't have any heads on them, you can actually put those in and fill in some space with greenery. I'm going to set it to the side. I may use it here in a little bit, but we'll see. Same thing with these. I like to find which one has the longest stem so that I can put it up higher in the arrangement. So, looks like we have a winner. Alright, so we have some here and some here. So just kind of turn around and see, oh, where does the next empty space need to be? Remember, the fern was in the very center, so we want to make sure that there's something on all sides of the fern in the center. Just kind of balance it out good. And then we'll go around and add these. And it's okay to have some in and some out. Gives you a little bit more depth. adds interest to your arrangement. And don't forget to angle the heads if you need to. You don't have to. But I will say, I don't know that I've ever seen a rose bush where all the heads were straight up. They kind of delicately look around. They're talking to each other. So angle those blooms. We call that facing. It's nice to have all the flowers facing out if you're doing the same flower. Let's see, we want a little bit of height on that one. So we have a taller stem. So instead of adding, we'll just go with the tallest one if we can find one that'll fit what we're after. Yeah, I think one more should do it. Yep. Now I might come back and add some more of these if I have any holes to fill, but we got several other bushes over here that we're going to be pulling from, so even though I might have a hole right here, that's okay. I'm going to fill it with something else. So you can see where we're at right now. The next flower down, again, we're still going in size. I have a light blue spray rose that I'm going to use. And I think I'm only going to use half the stems here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12, so I'm going to use 7 and leave 5. Now, if I were to use 6, as you get to the smaller flowers, you know, not the focal flowers, I could use 6. In fact, oh well, there's one without a bloom, so maybe I don't really have 12 flowers. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to leave 5 for the next project, but I may go back and get some more. So we're going to use what we have here. And I set that other stem to the side so that in the event that I need some filler, that would make a great little bit of filler. So now I like these. These have some light airiness to them, so I can put these in where there's holes, because the 3 blooms actually almost kind of take up the same amount of real estate as 1 bloom, big bloom. So wherever you see holes, that's where I want to try to stick these. Let's see if we have anything taller. Oh yeah. Actually, I'm going to put an extra pick on this one, make it a little bit longer, because I already know just with experience that it's going to need a little extra height to get it where I want. So I'm just putting it up here. The great thing about silks is if you make a mistake and cut your stem too short, you can add back to it. Whereas with fresh, can't really do that. I have put fresh in a water pick and then tape that to a stick to put in an arrangement if I absolutely had to do it for like a funeral piece or something like that, that it only needed to last a day or 2. I have done that. And there's no more in the cooler. Like that was the last flower and you need it to finish off your arrangement, so that can be frustrating. Alright. Move that over a little bit. I've got a little hole in here. I think I'm going to insert that in. Remember, when you're going down to the base, you still want to angle it in but then tilt it down towards you to get it to go wherever you want it to go. Alright, so that's looking good. It's coming, it's getting there. So the next flower, the next size down, we have some turquoise mini spray roses. So the ones I just put in were spray roses, but this is just a little bit smaller bloom. And the emphasis really truly was on turquoise. That was their #1 flower choice. I probably will use this entire bush. It only has 4 stems, but I can break these apart. I actually had to go and specially find these. We're lucky. We have both Michael's and Hobby Lobby within about 20 minutes of my shop. So I like it to fall on the week that they're on sale. For those of y'all don't realize, Hobby Lobby, their flowers are either 40 or 50% off every other week. So I always hope it falls on the week that I need it. So I just cut this stem into 2 separate bushes, so now I have 2 separate inserts. So I will do that with all of these bushes. Oh, look, I get 3 inserts on this one. Because these stems are so short, I'm definitely going to have to pick or add extenders to them. So, but no worries. I could just take one off and put 2 in, but since turquoise was the primary color of what the customer wanted, I think having it peppered in there more is going to be nice. So start with the tallest and see where I can. Yeah, I'm going to have to pick almost all of them except those that are kind of at the base. I'll put a couple around at the base, so I don't have to pick them all, but not too many. So a bloom fell off and just got to figure out where, and you can go through and see, oh, is there one that only has 1 bloom? Yep, this one, and add that to this. Now I keep a glue gun on standby because this was actually ripped, so if it fell off once, the likelihood is it's gonna fall again. So I keep my glue gun handy. Just put a little dot on there. Don't need much. Whoop. And then stick that in place. Ready to roll. Base. Oh no, I'll do one more at the base level, and then I will start adding extenders so we can come up in the arrangement a little better. Yeah. Okay. Well, here's a tall one. Can we get that in here? Oh yeah, that's gonna fit. And that has a wide enough area. I don't need to bend before I pick it. Sometimes the leaves get in the way and you're trying to punch the pick through the leaves. Here's another tall one. Let's see. Yeah, I think I could fit him in here. And I can double pick him to give him just a little bit more height. So that's what I'm going to do. Stick him in there. One more, oh yeah, one more tall one. Double pick him. Okay, now the rest I'm definitely going to have to put extenders on. So, just get into my extender hole here. We got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to get 2 taller ones and 2 shorter ones. So, that I have a little bit of variation. To tape these. So while I'm taping these, if you guys have any questions, feel free to type the questions in below and I will answer all of your questions. I really appreciate you all taking the time to watch the video and I will definitely answer your questions. Might not be today, or depending on how long this video is up. I will check back occasionally, and if there's new questions, I will try to answer them. So I'm curious, do you all do silk cone arrangements in your area? Are they popular? Do you just get a couple every now and then? Do you is it a big portion of your business? I will say here, it is a huge portion of our business. We sell a lot of silks. In fact, when I took this shop over 2 years ago, I really didn't think we would sell a lot of silks. I really didn't. And wow, was I surprised. I bet you that I sell just as many silks as I do fresh. That's how many we sell. It's a lot. We sell not only tombstone toppers, but the cone base insert arrangements. We sell silk wreaths. We sell silk shapes like hearts, crosses, teddy bears. I actually do specialty arrangements. That is where my passion lies. I really enjoy doing those, and I will do some videos eventually on those. Those are very time consuming, and if you check out my website, I have a couple on there. I think I have one for sale right now. It's an American flag with the eagle and a cross on my website. And my website, if you're curious, is www.floralexpressions.with.Jolene. The expressions has an S on the end, and it's with. Some people like to put the word by in there, but it's with, because we're doing this together. You're in this with me. So we got all 4 of our stems with the extenders on it. Now we're just gonna look where we want to place them and get them in place. But again, that's www.floralexpressions.with.Jolene. And there should be a gallery on there. You can go and look at my gallery and see different specialty silks that I've done. And I was in the fire service for, well, as a volunteer for now a little over 32 years, but career for 20 years. I just retired 2 years ago. So for many years I did this on the side, word of mouth, and so a lot of my pictures in the gallery I think are like patches or logos from fire departments, rescue squads, police departments, things like that. I've done cars, anchors, teddy bears. I did a rooster one time with feathers. That was pretty cool. There we go. There's another hole. So yeah, and I am happy to make those. However, I do need at least 24 to 48 hours, preferably 48 or 72 hours notice. Some of them, especially the more intricate they are, they take a lot of time. It's not just whip up in an hour. There's a lot of labor, very labor intensive. So the one on my website that has the flag and the cross and the eagle, that eagle was very time consuming, intensive. That's like 3 separate pieces put together. That's actually a casket spray that like maybe for a military or someone that did service. So with this next filler, you can do one of 2 things. There are several different sets of flowers on here. There's actually like 4. So you have the top set, the next stem that slides up and down, so that's number 2, there's 3, and there's 4. You can keep that all together and pick it and put it in. However, I feel like you get more real estate, you get more coverage if you divide that in half. So what I do is the top 2, I make sure I pushed all the way to the top. I pull the bottom 2 down a good little ways, and then I just clip it maybe in the middle, maybe further if you want a longer one. Like let's just say we want, you know, a fairly long one. So we're going to clip that. With the one down here, roll this edge over so that when you push the flowers back up, they don't pull all the way off, okay? And then you have something for the base, and then a little bit taller one for the next one. So I go through and do that with all of the sets. Now when you saw me clipping, you probably noticed I didn't clip the last one off of the main stem, because that's given me what, 3-4 inches right there of height. Once it's down in the arrangement, you're not going to see it. So go ahead and pick it and use it as is. Now this has only 2 sets on it. It looks like a set already fell off the top. So to keep these from sliding off, I'm just gonna curl that top there a little bit and then push those up a little bit. So there you go. There's one insert, probably the tallest one. So I could get that really high up on my arrangement. So I'm gonna go through here and divide these all out and do some picking, or I'm gonna have to put some extenders on the shorter pieces, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna try to, well, now this one didn't have very many on it, so I'll just leave it as is. I won't separate that one out. But anyway, so talking about my specialty designs with the you know, patches, logos, I've done banjo, guitar, bass, animals. I've done a couple different cars.